Curse to Golf is a very charming action golf light, and while the game certainly has some interesting gameplay to it, I feel like the lack of variance unfortunately gets it caught in a sand trap. Curse to Golf's story finds ourselves trapped in golf purgatory, and the only way to make it out is to, well, golf our way through. So this is definitely not going to be super realistic golf physics. Instead, this is more like something like the early NES kind of like 2D style golf games. You have 3 different clubs that will affect distance as well as velocity of the ball, and your mission is to get through each obstacle hole challenge with enough shots. Every time you take a shot, you'll use up one of your counters at the bottom. Hit 0 and the run is over. Now, one thing that is very interesting is that while this may look like the courses are procedurally generated, in our interview with the designer, every course in this game is 100% handmade. Which ones you get on a given run, however, is entirely up to RNG. So, to kind of help you get through the courses, there are various shot trophies, as you saw a second ago, that when you hit them, you will gain additional shots. You will also unlock the power to spin, as well as quote-unquote ace cards, which kind of act as your special powers. These cards can give your ball super bouncy powers, multi-ball, rocket shot, and so on and so forth. And you can keep or add them to your binder so you have additional copies on subsequent runs if you fail. The route through the game takes you through different biomes. Each biome has its own associated traps, the courses get longer, things get more challenging, that kind of stuff. At the end of each biome, you will face off against a quote-unquote golf boss, where you must beat them to the hole while maintaining your shots. And if you lose, you'll be sent back to the beginning. If you're hoping for multiple layers of progression or persistent elements, besides unlocking the power to spin your ball, the other thing you'll get is a flag that you can plant down after a course that acts as a checkpoint, so that if you lose on a future course or future hole, you'll get sent back there instead of back to the start. So this is definitely one of those games where the gameplay is so unique that it definitely helps stand out. I love the charm of the aesthetics. Music has that very nice chippy tune while you're chipping balls into your various holes there. But my issue with this game is that while a developer and the whole game is marketed as a roguelite or a golf light, I don't feel like the design is really placed to that strength. And I found myself not as enthusiastic to do multiple runs of golf in this game. We're going to talk about that next, but first we're going to take a quick break. And if you're interested in my thoughts on design, then check out my game design books. For entry-level students, we have 20 Essential Games to Study, and then the Game Design Deep Dive series that takes an extensive look at different genres, with more coming soon. Curse to Golf tries to walk that line between being a predominantly skill-focused game with a very strict beginning, middle, and end, but also having elements of persistence and quote-unquote roguelite side in order to warrant or make the justification for different runs. But the problem that I have with the game is that it doesn't feel like there is enough variance to make a run feel like a completely different experience. Part of this is because of the handmade courses. Once you start to play these courses out, because of how focused they are on your own ability to judge shot trajectories and angles, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things which direction you're going to shoot your ball, what obstacles they're going to throw at you. But it leads to this sense of tedium, that if you die and you go all the way back to the first biome, even after you've beaten the second one, or even up to number 3, well, you're not really doing anything else new. There's nothing that gets unlocked or new challenges or anything that will differ from one run to the next in terms of what you're doing. The ace cards, which kind of act as your spells and modifiers and that kind of thing, only have such a limited use. This is not like getting, let's say, a different club, or maybe finding some kind of artifact that gives your balls additional spin or bounce. It just feels very much like a linear game that just has multiple or randomized levels to play through. And once you begin the game, I'm not sure if there really is enough here to make someone want to go back through it again and again and again, like in a roguelike or a roguelite. I think my biggest suggestion would have been that once you've cleared a biome, that you can just restart from the second course or the second biome wherever you are, as opposed to going all the way back to the beginning or having these kinds of limited use continues. As I can just imagine someone getting to biome 3, biome 4, failing a hole, and then just being so devastated that they're back at all the way at the start, that they're never going to play the game again. And another thing I think the game could have done a little bit better is explain some of the differences as you get to more advanced obstacles and environmental interactables. There are portals and bumpers and spikes and water and all this great stuff that is designed to either help or harm you. And there's no real indication when you start playing what any of this does until you actually try and use it. But again, in a game where literally every shot matters, it can be very punishing to not know how something works and have it completely wreck your chances of clearing the holes. Now, with the holes themselves, there's definitely sections and shortcuts that are ace card required, that I could not see how you're supposed to actually angle the shot normally to get through. And there are certain cards that are definitely miles above others, especially in the right situations. You get a shot that, let's say, lets you drill down to the ground on like a multi-floor hole, and you can bypass so much of it. And I'm sure there are speedrunners who are clocking in and figuring out exactly what are the best cards and routes to take. So, with all that said, Curse to Golf is a very interesting concept. If you're looking for a very light-hearted but still challenging take on arcade golf, definitely check this one out. But if you're hoping for more of a roguelike side of things, then I'm afraid this game doesn't quite make it to the green in that respect. With that said, I'd like to thank the developer for giving me a press key to check it out. Be sure to tune into my interview with the developer that should be going up probably in a few weeks from the time of this review being posted. Do all the liking, subscribing, and commenting. Check out our Discord and Patreon link down below, and come back for daily discussions on game design here and on Game Wisdom, where he's in the art and science of games.